Hi, this is Kathy Gay-Shiroki at the Burchfield Penney Art Center for our third mid-afternoon sketch break, sponsored by Hyatt's All Things Creative. We want to thank Hyatt's for their ongoing continued support of our educational programming. For today, we will be making lines. And what I have with me today is a sheet of paper, and I have different markers and pens. I didn't use pencil because I don't want any erasing for today. So I'm going to start with an artist whose name is Benjamin Minter, and he is in our permanent collection here at the Burchfield, and his work is about making imperfect lines. So I'm going to start off with using a black pen, kind of like a marker, and I'm going to make a line like he did. So he would take a line and make some curlicubes and some up and downs. And you know what? My pen is not working as well as I want it to work. So I love that line, but I'm going to start off with another paper. Let's make a sharper line. Let's take a Sharpie and I'll start again. And we'll make a line, and he makes little squares and he dips down a little bit and over. So this might be one of his lines. And then he copies that line and he goes around it and he goes up. And to see how that might be a mistake right here, it is not with him. These are his imperfect lines, and they change every time you make a line. So he continues with making these lines, and he just feels the way the line moves and the line goes around and how the line changes, and he's just kind of going with the feel of it. I love how you just use your eyes to follow the pen, and you use your hand, and you start seeing what happens. It's really fun how this part has changed from a long line to a little tiny one, and this one's angling up. And at any point, he says that he actually fixes his line or changes it the way he wants to make it start again. So if we wanted to start again, I could move and make my long line and go down. And I've changed just a little bit, and I've made this little curve, and I've gone down again. It is very, very fun and satisfactory to have a line just continue and have your eye continue drawing and seeing what you're doing. And my elbow is up, it's not on the table lazy, it's not like this. It's moving your hand, so the tip of your marker or pen gets to have so much fun moving across. I love how this is happening right here, and these little curves are going on. Makes a little bit of a noise if you can hear it. If you use a pencil, you're going to get that urge to erase, which is what this is not about. It's about being imperfect. It's about making these lines and just the process of making the line and following it. I love these little lines at the very end as well. And then, see these little curlicubes? I'm going to bring that back. So I'm going to go like that, bring it back. I'm going to go down and around by capping here. Get that little curlicube again. It's a quiet, meditative time. So you can keep on going and keep on moving and see what the changes happen, but it's about the process. And the process is just a great time to just take a breath. And the next artist I'm going to show you to do with lines is Idris Wajid. And Idris Wajid's here in Buffalo, And he uses lines, very, very thin lines. And with that particular work that I'm showing you today, he made like a line that looks like a portrait, a side portrait of a face. And when he used to make some lines, he used this Micron pen 05, and so I have it with me as well, which you can get at Hyatt's. So he took some of the paper and made this very long line, and then made some type of portrait going up, and then he made a very long line down. So I'm just going to do that too to start. But he did lines as well, and he did his lines across. Now I'm going to go backwards because of my angle. And when he did his lines, he would take a breath and then go across. So his lines became part of his breath. And then he'd breathe in and breathe out. And he'd breathe in and he'd breathe out. And again, these were not perfect lines. These were his lines. And he did try to get as close as possible to the next line. And if he was sitting on the couch and one of his kids bumped him and the line became a little squiggly like this, he would then work with it, because that's just what happens. Now I'm resting my hand on the table to make my line so that I can kind of get close enough to the next line to make it so that they work together. Now he also didn't work on a table. I heard that he would work on his lap, on his couch when he was making these lines. And he would then take a breath and breathe out. Take a breath and breathe out. So the lines were not perfect, but they were also part of who he was at that moment, part of his calming, but moving his arm and how it felt to draw, just to draw a line, and how good that feels. Feels great to draw a line. That's how close I got that time. So it's starting to look like this side of the page is filled with the lines and this side of the page is going to be blank. Sometimes he wouldn't even draw a portrait or a face, and he would just fill the whole page with these lines. And feel free, I'm going to show you what it might look like if I just switch to a pen. Let's see how the line works. And it just feels different, it flows differently because each pen, each marker has a different tip to it. And I'm actually going to the very end of the page, and the paper actually is getting these dots from my line, but that's good because you want to go to the very, very end of the page. Let's look how different they are. So you can see these are a little straighter, so it was a little bit easier to control for me. And then let's switch over to a big fat Sharpie here. Let's see what those lines look like. Not as close, but very bold. So you can continue down making your lines, and you can make them as tight as you want in whichever marker or pen that you would like to use. And then the third artist I wanted to show you today that uses lines is John Baldessari. And John Baldessari made this great line drawing, and it said, "I will not be a..." I have to cut that. Can't find the original. Sorry. I want to make sure I quote it properly. Sorry, Michaela. Okay, let me start again. So we're going to talk, our next artist is going to be John Baldessari, and he wrote with lines, "I will not make any more boring art." I will not make any more boring art. And he drew it, and he wrote it, and he continued writing it in a pattern, and it became his mantra, his chalkboard. And I'm going to suggest that you decide what you want to write. So he wrote, "I will not make any more boring art." And I think I will write, "I will not stop being a creative artist." So let me see, he wrote it in script. "I will not stop being a creative artist." And then he continued it. "I will not stop being a creative artist." I will not stop being a creative artist. 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 And you can write whatever you would like to write. And it feels great to write the same thing over and over and not worry about if you're getting every letter in. I will not stop being a creative artist. Feels wonderful just writing the same thing over and over, your mantra. So you can continue on and on and on with your sentence. And mine was, "I will not stop being a creative artist." I want to thank you for coming to our sketch break today. Thank you to Hyatt's for all your generosity. And we look forward to having you back at our sketch break here at the Burchfield Penney Art Center. Thank you.